Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Maleficer here with a video of how to play the My Hero Academia collectible card game. The main reason for this is because there's a lot of interest at my local of how to play this game and they want to get into it. So I figured I'd make a video, try to explain it as simple as possible so everyone can jump in and play with their friends. So in front of me, I have the playmat that you get from the Rival Box, and we'll go over every zone. At the top, you see your life. This is your vitality. That's how much health you start with at the game. Depends on your character or your leader. At the bottom, you have your card pool, represented by the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the progressive difficulty in the game. And then in the middle, you have your staging area where your foundations go, as long as your assets. You have your character, your momentum, your deck, and your discard pile. That is the layout of the game. There's nothing else. And we'll go over the type of cards in the game. You have your leader cards, which your decks are revolved around. You have your orange attack cards, which is this is how you attack your opponent, try to deal damage, try to bring them to 0. You have your gray foundation cards, not in this deck, but part of the game. You have your blue action cards, and you have your green asset cards. We'll go over each one of them. So first, like I stated, every deck is revolved around a leader card. So we'll go over the leader card right now. So this one is Midoriya, or Deku. You're gonna see a bunch of numbers. You're like, what's going on? I don't understand. I got you. So on the top is called a difficulty. Across from it, it is your block. On the bottom is a check for leader cards, and specifically, here is the hand size that I'll draw up to every turn. And then on the bottom, it shows my vitality, which Deku has 28 vitality. Then right here, you have your enhancements of what the character can perform during the enhancement step. And on the side, you have your symbols, which is more of a deck building video. We can do that later. So that is your leader card. Let's get started. So at the start of the game, you and your opponent decides who goes first, rock, paper, scissors, however you want to do it. Let's say I start, right? So starting player, your character begins committed. There's two ways a card can be in this game. It is the ready, which is standing up, and committed, which is sideways or tapped. So player 1 always starts their character committed. Then you draw up to your character hand size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This game has something called a selective mulligan, which is actually really cool. Which you look at your card, you look at your hand. So we'll go ahead and spread out to see what I drew. And then I can go ahead and say, you know what? I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want these 3 cards. We'll go ahead and put them at the bottom of the deck, and then we will draw back up to our character hand size, which Deku is 6. So 4, 5, and 6. Cool. My opponent can do the same thing. I won the die roll. I'll decide to go first, and then we'll go ahead and begin playing the game. So here we have your card pool. This is where you go ahead and start playing your cards, and we'll go over how to pay for them. So we'll go ahead and play Wall Clay. You can see here that this has a check of 2 plus 0. So I would need to check a 2 to successfully play this card. How do we do that? We flip the top card of your deck, and the bottom number, the blue number, is called a check. If it is greater or higher than your required difficulty, you pass. So in this case, I needed a 2. I flipped a 5. We continue. Then you play your next card. Go ahead and play Gift from Mom. So it's a difficulty of 2 plus 1. I need a 3. You flip the top card. It's a 5. I pass, no problem. Then you continue. Let's say I want to play Righteous Training, which is a 2 plus a 2, so I need a 4. I flip a 4. Perfect. First player cannot attack, so these attacking cards I cannot play. So I'll go ahead and say I pass my turn. These will go down to your stage as your foundations. These are your foundations. And then your opponent will proceed to do the same thing. They go ahead, they build a bunch of foundations, then it goes back to you. You go ahead and ready everything that is committed. So in this case, your leader. And then you have something called a review step. The review step, you can look at your hand and you can discard one card and then drop to your character hand size if you want. It's not mandatory. I'll say, you know what, I don't want this. I'll go ahead and drop to my character hand size. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome. So now I'm back on my character hand size, and then we repeat the process. In this case, now that it's back to me, I could attack if I want. So let's go ahead and attack. We'll go over the attack and the enhanced step now. So like I said, the orange cards are attacks. So we'll go ahead and play Determined Victory Rush. So it's a 5 cost plus 0, so I need to flip a 5 for it to be successful. I flip a 5. Perfect. Once you successfully pay for attack, you now go into something called the enhanced step. Every foundation, including your leaders, have something called enhance, which what that does is you're basically trying to boost the attack. Your opponent is trying to make the attack smaller, trying not to get hit by it. You're basically buffing and debuffing the attack until both you can't anymore, and then you go to the defense step. But how does the enhancement phase work? So I successfully paid for it, then I begin with enhancements. I'll go ahead and, for example, on this card it says, add this card to your hand after it resolves. Only playable if this attack damage is 15 or greater. So I'll go ahead, you can't do that because my attack is not 15. I have no enhancements that I can offensively play right now beside my leader card, which is once per turn, discard your hand, your punch attack gets plus 10 damage, which I could do that. Then I could activate this, which would make it 15. But basically, I would do an enhance, which would boost my attack or give me some type of advantage. Then it would go over to my opponent's turn, and he would do some type of enhance to decrease the damage or decrease the speed of an attack. Then we go back and forth until both players say no more enhancements, and then it goes into the defense step. If you notice, all these cards have a shield on top, which I showed at the start. All these cards have a shield on top with a color that represents the zone that they are blocking and the cost it takes to block. So for example, this card, I'm coming at him at a 5 speed red, which is a high attack. There's 3 different blocks in this game. You have your high blocks represented by red, your medium blocks represented by green, and your low blocks represented by yellow. To perfect block in this game, you need to match the corresponding attack zone. So for me to take no damage, I can perfect block a high with a high. A medium block can block both a high and low attack, but since it's not a perfect block, you will take half damage rounded up. So if I decide to block with this card, I will go ahead and take 3 damage, which is half of 5 rounded up. But I cannot block a high attack with a low block. Vice versa, I cannot block a low attack with a high. And that's basically the 3 different types of defenses in the game. How do you pay to defend? You have to match the speed, which is 5 in this card, plus the difficulty of your defense. For example, walking is a 3, speed is a 5. So in total, you need 8. So let's go ahead and play it out. I'll go ahead and come at you with 5 speed. You go ahead and say, okay, I'm gonna block with Walkling. So I need 5, 6, 7, 8 total check. We'll go ahead and flip the top card of our deck. It is a 5, but this is why we have foundations. I flipped a 5, I needed 8. You can commit your foundations to help you pay for the cost. That's why you want to build. So 5, 6, 7, 8. I committed 3 foundations plus the 5 to make me reach 8. I perfectly blocked this attack. Once the enhancement step and the block phase is over, your turn continues. So that was the first attack. Let's say he plays another attack. So now it is a 4 plus 1. I need a 5. You would check your attack. Got a 5. Boom. We would go into the enhancement step again. For every attack, you go into the enhancement step, and it's a back and forth of debuffing, buffing each other, doing enhancements, and trying to get your opponent to commit as much foundations as possible to leave them open for the next turn or the next attack. In this case, because me defending this attack, I basically tapped out, meaning that he can buff this up if he can, and I'll most likely take the damage, or he'll make it very difficult for me to block. So in terms of the attacking cards, here we have 2 examples of attacks. You can see as I was going over this one, this is a 5 high, represented by the color, which is red. And this one is a low attack, 4 speed low. So the top number always represents the speed of the attack. The bottom number always represents the damage of the attack. During the enhancement step, you have abilities that buff the attack, buff the speed, lower the speed, etc., etc. And then between you and your opponent, you just try to see how much damage you can do every turn. Outside of that is your enhancement steps. And then once all the enhancements are done that you can possibly do, then you go to defense. And once again, high can perfectly block high, red to red. Low can perfectly block low, low to low. Medium can successfully block both, but will take half damage. And a low attack cannot be blocked by a high block, and a high block cannot block a low attack. So it's a little bit confusing, but once you get the hang of it, it's just like a fighting game. You know, they did a really good job on making this exactly like a fighting game with a high, medium, and low attacks, the speed, etc. And it's very, very well done. So in the instance of one more thing that happens after you successfully hit your opponent. So let's say this attack hits and this attack hits, right? We go through the defense step. You know, you try to block, but it still hits. We go ahead and for every attack that hits, it will go into your momentum pool behind your character, which is like a special gauge, right? And then you have certain cards, for example, this one, Gift from Mom, that only activate during the enhanced step if you have a momentum. So in this case, it says discard 1 momentum, your punch attack gets +3 damage. So during the enhanced step, after I've successfully paid for an attack, I'll go ahead, and this is in my stage, I'll go ahead and say enhance, discard 1 momentum, my punch attack gets +3 damage. So instead of a 5, it's an 8. You know, and just like that. Let's say my opponent can't perfectly block it, but he has a card on defense like Walkling, which it says enhance flip. If this attack is blocked, it deals no damage to you. So he'll go ahead and flip it, And then let's say he goes ahead and tries to block it with a medium. So he still needs to pay 3 speed plus 2 block modifier, so he needs 5. So we'll go ahead and flip. It is a 3. He needs to tap 2 more things. Let's say he does tap 2 more things. It is a 5. Because of this card's effect, he will take no damage. You know, so that basically is the main interaction between players. Is definitely the enhanced step, trying to just buff and debuff the attack as much as possible and try to kill your opponent just like in a fighting game. I mean, that's basically the gist of it. I can go ahead and show you just like a quick demo of actually how a game would play. Because I know it's a lot to take in at first, but once you actually play, it is super, super fun. Once you and your friends play, sit down, you build your favorite heroes. 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll go ahead and look at my hand. I'll go ahead and we'll do a selective mulligan. I'll go ahead and drop 2 to the bottom, draw 2, shuffle. My opponent cuts me, and then we go ahead and begin. So we'll go ahead and play Walkling at a 2 plus 0. We flip. It is a 4. We'll go ahead and play a Good Impression at a 2 plus 1. I need a 3. It is a 5. I'll go ahead and play Self-Sacrifice, which is 1 and a 2, so it's a 3. I flip the 3. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do Righteous Training, which is a 3 plus a 2, which is a 5. I flip the 3. I failed the check. This gets discarded because I have nothing I can tap or commit to help me pay for the cost. My turn ends. This goes down here as my stage. My opponent does the same thing, goes back to me. I ready my characters. I go ahead and say my review step. I'll go ahead and discard this, draw up to my character hand size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then because I want to be aggressive, we'll go ahead and begin attacking. So we'll go ahead and drop a future charge for a 4. I flipped a 3. I need to commit 1 thing to help me pay for it. I'll go ahead and commit Self-Sacrifice. So 3 plus 1 is 4. I successfully paid for it. Then we'll go into the enhancement step. I'll go ahead and say enhance. Draw 1 card for each copy of future charge in your card pool. This is your card pool. I have 1 future charge in my card pool, so that lets me draw 1 card. Let's say he has something like discard this foundation, my attack gets -2 speed. So instead of 3 speed, I'll go down to 1, then it'll become my turn again. And I'll go ahead and do enhance, flip. My next punch attack gets -1 difficulty. We'll go ahead and flip. So the next attack that I play, if it's a punch, I'll get -1. Then he'll go ahead and do something to damage it. Okay, he minus it by 2. So now I'm at 1 speed, 2 damage, and then I go, you know what? I'll go ahead and enhance once per turn, discard my hand, my punch attack gets +10. So now I'm at 12 damage. And then he goes to the defensive step. Let's say he doesn't have a medium for a perfect block, but he tries to block with a high. So then I was at 1 speed with a 3 defense modifier. So he needs a 4. He flips a 5. He blocks it. He takes half damage of 12, so he'll take 6. And then, you know, it's back and forth, back and forth. Hopefully this video helped explain how this game works. I know it's a lot to intake at first, but if you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the comment section. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and we'll be doing more My Hero stuff later on. Thank you.